welcome back. This is Weekly Flow Bucks Chalk Talk, talking all about the Bucks today. I missed a few games. I had some personal things come up. I've had some dental problems, so I'm back, better, ready to cover the Bucks. So let's do this. Audio only, because my hardware does not want to work with me for whatever reason. But let's recap since the Utah game up until this Wizards game. So they played the back-to-back against the Nuggets, and they stunk it up. The refs were very bad. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. They were bad. They gave up a big 5-point swing that hurt the Bucks ultimately from keeping it a competitive game. Then Monday night, the Bucks cooked the Pistons. Chris looked like vintage Chris Middleton. He was out there getting buckets, and he was doing it effortlessly pretty much. Then they went stupid against the Pacers in India, I want to say. It was a very fun game to watch. Probably the funnest game all year. They were hitting threes like crazy. Jrue had a 51-point bomb. It was ridiculous. Giannis had his triple-double. Grayson had a nasty yam in that game. Almost looked like he was going to break his wrist, but he didn't. It was ridiculous. The Boston game did not happen. It did not happen. And then the Bucks cooked the 76 free throw attempts, and that was a fun game. Giannis outplayed Embiid. I will say it was very fun watching Jrue and Jay getting steals off of James Harden. It was super fun, really good home win, and then they cooked the Wizards. Last night on the first of a back-to-back. They got the Bulls tonight. So let's talk some Bucks. All right. So Giannis finally got that triple double against the Wizards in Washington. It was amazing. He had 20, 28, something like that, 28, like 13, 10 assists, 12 rebounds, maybe not 13. And then he had a ridiculous chase down block against Kendrick Nunn. He had turned the ball over, which we can talk about Giannis turning the ball over a little bit because he had, I think, 8 turnovers tonight, which is not good. He had like 4 very, very early on. Turn the ball over, and you know how Giannis is. Whenever he turns the ball over, misses a bad shot, he'll like try super hard to get the ball back. And he was like already past the timeline, and Nunn was like basically at the 3-point line. And Giannis was like, nah. Even if they were up a bunch, he was going to go for it, which is scary because the last time he went for a chase down block, he ended up hurting his hand. And if we want to talk about him having his hand being hurt, his right hand is what he blocked the dunk attempt with, I'm pretty sure. And then in the post-game conference, he had his right hand, his right wrist, completely wrapped up in ice. I mean, bulge on his hand was ridiculously large, all the way up through his hoodie. It was concerning, and he's playing through injury, but, at this point, it's play through injury or don't play through injury and risk being the 2 seed and then having to potentially play Boston in the second round, and you don't want to do that, or Philly, rather, in the second round, and you don't want to do that. And then Jrue had a near triple double tonight. He had 29? He had a 29-point game. I do not remember. Sorry, I'm going to be clicking here for a second. Let me look it up. I just need to double check to make sure what his points were, because I want to get this right. I don't want to be the guy that doesn't get it right. Giannis had 28, so no, he didn't have 29. I think it was 24 points. He had a 24.9 rebound, 10 assists, near triple-double. He had, yep, so it's 24, 9, and 10. So real close. Just missed that one rebound. But he looked awesome. And then he had a wicked yam off the drive on Huff. I don't even know who Huff is. Never heard of the guy. I'm sure he's playing hard on a really mediocre, not good Wizards team who was sitting a bunch of players because they basically won too many games trying to be competitive, and then they weren't good enough. And so now they're not going to have a chance at a good draft pick, and maybe they do get a good draft pick. We'll see. But yeah, wicked dunk, just super ferocious, like really quick. It was one of those dunks where he didn't like cock it back a ton, but it was really powerful nonetheless. And then Bobby, I made a graphic that I'll put on my social media, on my Twitter, and maybe I'll put it on IG too. Bobby had a near 20-20 game. He had 19 points, 20 rebounds. He was 5 for 15, which is not great, but he was 5 for 9 from 3, which is really good because we've been wondering about that Bobby 3-pointer, and his corner 3 has been really bad this year, like 28%, something really, really atrocious. But 5 for 9 from 3, 56%, 4 for 8 from the free throw line. You'd like to see 6 for 8 maybe, but Yeah, he was just missing that last bucket, and there was one where it just rattled in and out off like a little gimme on the inside. It's just kind of indicative of his night on the inside. But near 2020 game off the bench, and he's getting overlooked for six man of the year. Currently third right now behind Brogdon and Quickly, and we'll get back to some of that getting snubbed or getting overlooked in the postseason award conversation for our Bucks guys. But when I say this was so close to history, there have been 14 duos to have a triple double in the same game. Anywhere from like, I think LeBron has done it twice. It was Jason Kidd and Vince Carter, Jordan and Pippen, Bird and Parrish. We had Magic and Kareem. I think there was a couple random ones. There's one with Lonzo and LeBron. I think there was one with Westbrook and LeBron, and then like Ja and Valanciunas and the bubble. Like a couple random ones, but this one would have been really good. Obviously, first team guy in Giannis, and then first time All Star in 10 years in Jrue would have been an amazing game because just the other night when they played Indy, Jrue had 50-point game, and he was close to a triple double there. Actually, he was two rebounds and two assists short. He would have had a 50-point triple double along with Giannis having like a nearly 40-point triple double. It was ridiculous. But that would have been the 15th time ever if they would have got that one more rebound for Jrue. However, if Bobby would have got 2020, it would have been the first time ever in NBA history, so absolutely close to having two players with a triple double and having a separate 2020 player off the bench. I don't even know if the off the bench part matters, but regardless, 2020 off the bench nearly, and then two guys with triple doubles. That's just absurd. This team is ridiculous. Obviously, it was against a not great Wizards team. However, just 7 days prior, the Wizards beat up on the Celtics, and that same Celtics team just the other night beat up on the Bucks. And there's kind of this thing where the Celtics will beat the Bucks, but then the Bucks will beat the Sixers, and then the Sixers will beat the Celtics, and it's just like who has whose number, and clearly Boston has both teams' number to an extent, but it's just going to be a wild ending to the season, and hopefully clinch up that one seed. The magic number is one, but before that, talk about some Jay Crowder. Mr. Boss Man was cooking. He had 4 for 5 from three, so it was 80%. Had 19 points. He played a lot of minutes with Chris sitting, and Pat, unfortunately, getting injured, which is kind of a concern going into the playoffs. Pat and Grayson are out with both right ankle sprains. We've been having questions about their offensive contribution. Grayson only had like 9 points in like 4 or 5 games, something like that. And then Pat was hit or miss, and his 3-point percentage is going up lately, but it's not good because it's working from the rest of the season where he was at like a solid, maybe like 36, 37%, which is not great for what he has done in the past, but it was really bad at the start of the season when he was kind of working through some injury stuff. But now they're both out, and now we're wondering who's going to get some minutes. Is West going to get the minutes now? Is Dragic going to get more playing time? Is Ingles going to have to play a lot more? Is Jay going to have to get into the starting lineup now? And we'll see. And some people are saying, oh, well, Bud's not going to put Jay in the starting lineup. It depends on the matchup. And all I know is that regardless, I think this could force Coach Bud's hand to where he has to start Jay, and he puts Chris in at the three. Maybe he puts Chris in at the two. We'll see. Just again, kind of depends on the matchup, but hopefully we get more West minutes. Hopefully he looks good, knock some of that rust off, and get geared up for this postseason in this one seed because magic number is one. They beat the Bulls tonight. The one seed is absolutely locked up, and the Bucks will have home court advantage through the rest of the playoffs. I believe that they'll have the wins over the Nuggets, and they have a 1-1 tiebreaker, and I think there's a point differential. But still, if the Bucks have the overall number one seed and they make the finals, and the Nuggets do go to the finals, they'll have the home seed or the home court advantage, which is what we want. Play the Bulls tonight in a back-to-back. I didn't see the injury report yet. I don't think it's out for the Bulls, but I assume that they're going to be having some guys that are probably going to be gearing up for a good one because this is the first time that the Bucks have played the Bulls in a minute. The Bulls have beat them twice this year, so hopefully we can get the tie for this. But they have Pat Bev now. Their defense is looking good. Their offense is looking good. Bulls are playing a good brand of basketball, but at the moment, Bucks are kind of streaking. They're playing really well at the moment as well. So hopefully we can get a good dub at home. Um, let's talk about just real quick here how Giannis, Brooke, and Bobby are all currently now not favored for their respective award. Giannis sitting at third, according to the key MVP tracker. He's at like plus 650 maybe for the MVP now. Um, he's having a really great, or he had a really great game, triple double. Um, excuse me, Brooke is now plus 120, I want to say, and Jaren Jackson is minus 170, and then Bobby is minus or is plus maybe 600 or 500 at the third spot behind Brogdon and Quickly, who's at minus 220, I want to say. And I think they're getting overshadowed. Bobby obviously is coming off the bench, and there was a stat where he has like 26 double doubles coming in as a substitute, and then the next best person doesn't even have 10, or it's something ridiculous like that. So yeah, he's missed a lot of time. He missed like 16, 15 games with an injury against the Pistons, but as soon as he came back, he started doing the same thing that he was already doing, and he just showed what he can do last night, nearly a 2020 game. And then Brook, obviously, most contested shots. He has some of the best expected um, field goal percentage differential. He's like got the most blocks, but not the most blocks per game. He's been an Ironman. He's only missed like 2 or 3 games this whole year, and he's 35 coming off back surgery. Giannis is playing through a wrist injury. He had a back injury earlier in the year. He's had the most like 40-10 games. He's got a bunch of 50-point games. He's got the most. He's averaging 30, 10, and 5 on 50% field goal shooting first since Wilt. Like, I think it's kind of being overlooked here because of this whole like more finite stats kind of thing that we're looking at this, or not finite, but like more in detail stats thing that we're looking at, which is fine. And I think the context should be provided for the rest of the season and how guys perform in lineups and how they perform against certain teams, matchups, how they shoot from the field. That stuff matters. But and the precedent has been set, for however long. Best team, best record. He plays like an MVP. He hit a chase down block when they're up 15 and 8 minutes left against a bad team who might not even make the play in. And he is hustling like crazy. The other candidates, they don't do stuff like that, but that's something that he does even while being injured. So I just think this is kind of being thought over a little bit. I think in other seasons when this kind of thing was happening, I think those plays, even though he doesn't have a 50-point game to edge out the 2 seed kind of deal, I think we're kind of overthinking this, and yeah, maybe they don't want to give MVP, DPOY, and six man to one team, but come on, you got to think so. Speaking of player awards, can Drew make an all NBA team? I don't really think so. He'd like barely squeeze in if we like take some guys fell off, their teams are bad. But let me know what you think. I think he has a super, super slim chance. JJ Redick might think otherwise, but hey, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I'm just a guy on Twitter. I'm not a former NBA player. Let me know what you thought. I appreciate you if you listen. Give this video a like, share it, do whatever you want. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for coming to the Weekly Flow Bucks Chalk Talk, and I will see you again next time.